Hello everyone, this is Lord Kernian, and this is my first ever YouTube battle report. And I thought, what better way to start recording battle reports than with a 6-game tournament? So this is from the Nova Open Tournament. It was in Arlington, Virginia in August 2014. This is 2,800 points, no comp, and this is the first of 6 rounds, so you have a bunch more reports coming. So for my army list, I ended up taking High Elves. I was rocking a Prince with Dragon Armor, Dawnstone, Dragon Helm, Giant Blade, Shield, and Barded Steed. So he's got a 1-up rerollable, 6-up ward, and Strength 7 with ASF. I have a Lore Master with Book of Hoth and Talisman of Preservation, a BSB with Dragon Armor, Enchanted Shield, Obsidian Amulet, which is MR2, so that combines with the Dragon Armor for the BSB and the Dragon Armor of the Prince to give them both a 4-up ward versus Death Magic, which I thought was pretty good. He's also got the other Trickster Shard, a Barded Steed, a Shield. That's actually a typo. He had the Enchanted Shield, and then he had a Lance. I also had a Mage level 2 high with a Scroll and a Ring of Fury. I had 2x5 Reavers with bows and spears and musicians each. 2x10 Archers with musicians, 11 Silver Helms with full command, 21 Swordmasters with the armor-piercing banner, 24 White Lions with the banner of the World Dragon, 4 Repeater Bolt Throwers, and 2 Eagles. So my first round opponent was Ogre Kingdoms. He had a Tyrant with the Trickster's Helm, which is reroll to wounds, which on someone who's toughness 5 is pretty solid. He's got Talisman of Preservation, Great Weapon. Then he's got a Slaughtermaster level 4 Heavens, who's rocking Grut Sickle, because he likes to live dangerously. For anyone who's not familiar with Grut Sickle, probably a lot of people, because it's not actually that commonly taken, but it's every magic phase, his Slaughtermaster can deal a wound to the unit, and if he does that, he gets +2 for every casting attempt. The caveat is at the end of the game, he rolls 2 dice, and if he rolls boxcars, or I think if he rolls Snake Eyes, the unit turns on him and kills the Slaughtermaster. So a bit of a gamble, but 1 out of 36 chance, not that bad. So in addition to Grut Sickle, he's also got the Crown of Command on his Slaughtermaster. He's got a Bruiser BSB with the Rune Maw and a Great Weapon, so he doesn't have a great save, but he does have that wonderful item. He's got a Butcher level 2 Maw with the Hellheart, 11 Nobbler Trappers, 10 Nobbler Trappers, 3 Ogres, 8 Iron Guts with a Standard of Discipline, 3 Man-Eaters with a Abrasive Pistol on each guy, Immune to Panic and Scout, 4 Mournfang with a Gleaming Pennant, Gorger, 3 Saber Tusks, and 2 Iron Blasters. So here's a picture of deployment after deployment. So going left to right on my opponent, he's got his Mournfang, his Scouting Man-Eaters, Solo Saber Tusk, 11 Nobbler Trappers, Iron Blaster behind the hill, he's got his Ogre Bulls up there, next to his Gutstar with all 4 characters in there. Then he's got a Solo Saber Tusk next to them, and then the Bulls after that, and then another Saber Tusk outside of that. What you can't see just out of picture is his 11 Nobbler Trappers and his Iron Blaster, which you'll see in the next picture. For my side, I have, going left to right, a Bolt Thrower, 5 Reavers who decided not to Vanguard. I have 10 Archers. I have my Silver Helm Bust with both my General and my BSB. Then you can see my Sword Masters there with the AP banner. Eagle was behind the Silver Helms. Then I have the White Lions next to the Sword Masters with an Eagle behind that. Up a little bit in front of them was my 10 Archers. Then I have 3 Bolt Throwers around the hill, and my Reavers who are vanguarding up there. So yeah, I deployed back a little bit because really I'm in no rush to get into combat with the Gutstar. I figured I really want to use my early turns to get rid of his chaff, so that way I can dictate combat on the Gutstar. I can either choose to engage or choose to not engage on my terms by getting rid of all his chaff and preventing him from interrupting my combination charges. So I was fortunate enough to get first turn. So I didn't move much. I was a little bit happy with the way my deployment was. I was liking where everything was positioned, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to respond to where he puts pressure. So I didn't move much. I just wheeled my White Lions to readjust the ranks and face towards where his Gutstar is going to be coming from. Otherwise, there was no movement. So in the Magic phase, I showed how rusty I was by, first thing, dice was pretty decent. I started off with 1 dice at small Fireball at his Saber Tusk. And he lets it go. I figured, D6 hit strength 4, wounding on 4+. I have a decent chance of killing it. Well, that decent chance was not coming today. I only did 1 wound. Then I realized I'm being stupid, because Saber Tusks can't use General or BSB. So if I kill the Ogre Bulls next to them, he's testing for panic on a leadership 4 without general or BSB. So now I just started focusing on them instead. So my next spell was from the bound item, and he let that go. And I think he regretted letting it go because I rolled 11 hits and 7 wounds. So rolling like crazy with that, which was a good dent in that. He was able to use the rest of his dice. I think he was afraid of my magic missiles now, dispelled the rest of them. Then in shooting phase, between my 10 archers here and my 5 reavers over here on the right, I was able to, and between that and 2 of the bolt throwers, 2 of my 3 bolt throwers around the hill, I was able to wipe the rest of the bull unit, which was nice. The Saber Tusk then failed to panic and ran like 10 inches. He's like right on the edge of the board. With my remaining bolt thrower on the right, and I opened up at this unit and combined the fire with that and the bolt thrower over here, and then the 10 archers and the 5 reavers all shot at that unit, and when the dust settled, I did 8 wounds. So I was 1 wound shy of getting the unit, but still, it's a good start. Did a lot of wounds to that unit, got really weakened a lot of his chaff really early in turn 1, so I was happy with that, with the way the game started. So we go to Ogre's turn 1. He didn't really move that much, which I was a bit surprised by. I was expecting him to rush me, but instead he just kind of shuffled forward a little bit. The Noblars just went and hid behind that wall. Over on the right, the Saber Tusk that didn't break went and hid behind the hill for to hide from my archers and to, get some, maybe be used for some late game redirecting. The other Saber Tusk that was fleeing failed to rally and ran off the table, which was nice. And then you can kind of see in the upper left corner the Maneater, who decided he didn't want any of that and decided to turn around and book it towards the back table edge. Over on this side, he's kind of moved up a little bit and wheeled to face towards my Silverhelm star. So you can see some of that. So the first thing he did in the magic phase, he got decent dice. He started off with a comet. And I hate doing this. It's early in the game, but I thought it was just way too early for him to be dictating the terms of my movement phases. So I hate doing it. He rolled pretty well, though, so I just had to scroll it. Got rid of Comet, and then with my last dice was able to stop Chain Lightning. I just thought it was just too much of a tactical advantage if he can start telling me when to move forward. I need to make sure I pick combat on my terms and not rush it to avoid getting hit by a Comet, which could really devastate my Swordmasters. And then for shooting, the Iron Blaster on the far right shot and actually misfired, can't shoot this turn or next turn, which was nice. The one on the hill shot, hit, wounded, and rolled 1 for number of wounds against my bolt thrower on the left. So that was nice that he only rolled 1 wound. So we go to High Elf turn 2. Yeah, not a ton of movement. On my right, I moved my Reavers and my Archers up to shoot at that Saber Tusk that's hiding behind the building. And then I just redressed my battle line a little bit more. I brought my Swordmasters and my White Lions into alignment. And then over here, in a move that I think redefines the meaning of subtle military maneuvers, I wheeled my Silverhelms to face directly towards where the Mournfang are going to be overrunning, and put them 13 inches away from those blocking Reavers. I guess I just decided that there was a time and a place to be subtle, and that time was not now, nor was that place here. So, in order to pull off that ingenious maneuver, I wonder if he sees my plan. I had to march the archers up to get out of the way, so they're not going to be shooting this turn. In Magic was very uneventful. If I got anything off, it didn't do any wounds. But in shooting phase, I was able to drop Saber Tusk, so that was nice. And here we go into Ogre's turn 2. So yeah, he started off, I forget if the Noblars charged my archers over there on the left. If they charged, then I stood from them. I ended up declaring a flee from the Ogre Bulls, which would have been in my flank. So I fled from that, bounced through my Silverhelm so we couldn't get them. The Gutstar charged my archers on the right, which I fled from. And the Iron Blaster, which had misfired and can't shoot this turn, charged my Reavers, and I stood in shot and didn't do a thing. So the Gorgeous shows up. And then in the rest of the remaining movement, his man-eater, who had started booking towards the back edge, then goes and moves behind this hill completely to hide from my bolt throwers and to sing Kumbaya behind this building and preserve his points for the rest of the game. So this just shows the failed charges. So both the bulls and the Noblars failed their charge, moved up a little bit, and the Iron Guts also just moved up a little bit. For shooting, Magic was pretty uneventful. For shooting, though, this is one of the many places this game where I was an idiot, because by wheeling with my extraordinarily subtle maneuver, I showed my flank to that cannon, and I put it in a position where if he bounced far enough, he's going to bounce into my eagle. So that's exactly what he did. It was a really tempting shot, and so he put it lined up with 5 of my Silver Helms, rolled, hit all 5, killed all 5, bounced far enough to hit the eagle, and rolled 3 or more wounds, killed that too. So just, really stupid. I shouldn't have stacked them up like that and given him such a tempting shot. But hey, you live and learn. So over here, I was pretty lucky here. Completely whiffs his impact hits. Only kills 1. And then he whiffed all of his attacks and didn't do any more wounds. I completely whiffed back though, so I was testing at -2, and I fled. And as you can see from the dice there, my guys didn't want any part of that, because they went and booked it 12 inches. So he chose to restrain and just reformed. So over here, he charged the blocking Reavers, which is fine. It was impossible for him to overrun into my Silver Helms. But what he did do is he still rolled pretty high, and he would have been able to overrun into my archers that had fled from the bulls, who bounced kind of into those woods. So he completed the charge to that. That counts as a charge. They're fleeing, so they're automatically destroyed, and he's able to test a reform. So that's exactly what he did, and he ended up like that. That's why he's facing like that. So High Elf turn 3. So first of all, I charged my Silver Helms in the upper left of this picture into his Mornthang, which is obvious. The picture is blurry because they are moving so fast. It's not because I'm a terrible photographer or anything, I swear. Remaining moves. Both my Reavers and my Archers rallied, and I wanted to deal with that stupid Gorger that was behind my line. So I popped my level 2 out. I put her within 3 inches of the White Lions to make sure I'd get at least a 4-up Lookout Sir. But I wanted to deal with that with magic and not rely entirely on my shooting. And, but I didn't want to have to turn my White Lions around to deal with it. So I just popped her out, kept her within 3 inches to get the Lookout Sir, and yes, that's where she is. So that shows a better picture of the reformed Reavers, which, because they had broke from combat, I obviously couldn't move them, but they ended up running into a pretty good position for me to block anyway. So I just kind of reformed them like that. I put them in a position to make sure that the Gut Star, if they charge me, are staying in the front rank, or staying in the front arc. So Magic Phase comes, and he uses his Hellheart. Now, he needed a 4 to reach my level 2 Lore Master, and he needed a 5 to reach my level 2 High Mage, and he rolled a 3. So that was nice. Completely wasted that. For Magic, though, I was able to... He stopped one of my casts of Soul Quench, but he realized that I had a decent enough dice advantage, and between that and Book, he couldn't stop both Soul Quenches and then also prevent me from casting the Death Signature from my Lore Master onto his Iron Blaster, which his Iron Blaster was, I think, just outside of 12 inches of his General. So he'd be testing on a 7, which against my 9, pretty good chance of me getting rid of him. So he only stopped one of my Soul Quenches and used the rest of his dice to stop the Death Save, which is fine, he was able to do it. But I got off one of the spells, and was able to do a couple wounds to that. Didn't kill him, though, outright. So then I go to Shooting Phase. My Bolt Thrower, it actually worked out really well. My Bolt Thrower on the far left, he was at long range, but he had completely unobstructed view to that Gorger. So I shot at him, and that Bolt Thrower on the far left was able to get rid of him, so that was nice. So that left the 3 Bolt Throwers around the hill, free to shoot at his Iron Blaster, and when the dust settled, I did 3 wounds. So between the 3 of them, they're all shooting at close range. I was expecting to do more wounds than that. I think I only hit, I don't know, I think I hit with 2 of them, and then one of them failed to wound, and then the other one did like 3 wounds. I don't know, at the end of the day, though, I did 3 wounds to that Iron Blaster. Combat over here. So yeah, I charged in, and I did, I think I did like 7 or 8 wounds. So he has 2 guys left. He kind of sees the writing on the wall, and sees that I'm going to get the points for his Morn Fang. But, you know, why not get points out of my unit if he can? So he takes his guys, and one of the guys can swing at my BSB. He puts all of his attacks on my BSB. He's got 6 attacks. He gets 3 wounds. He does 3 wounds. So I got a 2-up armor save against his rider and a 3-up armor save against his mount, and I managed to fail 2 of those, and so my BSB dies. So then he was on Snake Eyes. He failed. He broke. His standard died, but because he was under 25%, you know, because he wasn't under 25%, he had 1 guy out of 4 left. He could technically rally, so I had to pursue, and I ended up like that. So Ogre's turn 3, so he takes the charge into my blocking Reavers, which is expected, and then his bulls just kind of move up there to protect the flank. So yeah, that just shows a better picture of that. His Noblars moved up towards my Silverhelms. I guess you're kind of anticipating using them to block next turn. So Magic Phase, he casts Chain Lightning, and he actually gets it off irresistibly. So he does, I think he did like 6 wounds or 7 wounds to the unit, did a wound to everyone in base contact, which is fine. So he gets it off irresistibly. He hits my level 2, kills her, and then he bounces, hits the eagle, kills the eagle. So that sucks, but, you know, I mean, that's, what are you going to do when you miscast? He lost the rest of his dice, so that was the end of this phase. Comet here, the cannon here, though, the Iron Blaster shot at one of the repeater bolt throwers on the hill, and it misfired and blew up. So, hey, it's great. I'll take 3 points. The other cannon shot at the Silver Helms and killed 3 of them. And then this combat went as you would predict it would. He completely wiped them and just reformed. So yeah, this was a weird thing. So top of my turn, I spent a lot of time on this because I realized that I could march my White Lions out of his arc. But for my Sword Masters, the bulls prevented me from getting entirely out of his arc on the other side. But if I charged them and overran, I'd be out of his arc then. So that's what I did. I charged his bulls, he stood, and then I marched my lions out of the way. Now, what I didn't see was that there was no way I was going to entirely wipe his bulls. So when I aligned, I set it up so when he breaks and I'm pursuing center to center, it actually is going to put me into an automatic charge into the flank of his Gutstar. And that's exactly what happened. So that was a little bit of an oversight on my part. So, you know, that sucks. Anyway, in Magic was pretty uneventful. There was nothing in my arc, so I couldn't use any of my spells. I had a pretty weak phase anyway. He was able to stop everything. I didn't get off any buffs onto my Sword Masters. Bolt Thrower, though, shot and killed the Maneater, which, yeah, in his turn, he had moved his Maneater out from behind the hill and actually gave me a clean shot with the Bolt Thrower on the left. So I actually took that shot and was able to kill him. I only needed 1 more wound. You know, hitting on 4s at long range, wounding on 4s between 6 shots. You know, yeah, I did the last wound. So yeah, hey, I'll take the extra points that he, you know, I don't think he intended it. I think it was a mistake on his part. But yeah, so he ended up moving there. So yeah, and this is a better shot of how the combat worked out. So I think I did like 6 or 7 wounds. So I left him with 1 guy left. He kills a couple of my guys, and he was on Snake Eyes pretty much, and he broke, but with the way the angle worked out, I automatically charged into the flank. The only consolation I have is that his BSB is on that side of the unit, so he can't make way out of combat, obviously, so I'm going to get to swing at his BSB, who has pretty weak armor. So we're going to see if I can do to him what he did to me. So we go to Ogre's turn 4. His bull back there rallied, and these guys just move up to block my Silver Helms. Yeah, not sure what this is showing. Okay, yeah, so Magic Phase, he gets a decent phase, and he gets off Comet. I tried to dispel it, I couldn't, so he puts the Comet on the hill, which is going to prove annoying, because I need those Bolt Throwers to shoot in my turn to get rid of that lone bull that's sitting back behind his unit. But if I leave him there and the Comet goes off, he might kill all 3 of my Bolt Throwers. So, yeah, I wasn't entirely, you know, it was going to pose a bit of a problem for me. In shooting phase, though, that thing shot, I believe he was shooting at one of my Bolt Throwers, and it misfired and blew up. So hey, I got both Bolt Throwers for free. I'll take it. And yeah, this combat, so against his general, I didn't do anything. A couple of my guys had to attack him. I put as few attacks as I could on him because, you know, I'm hitting on 3s, sure. Or I think I might be hitting on 4s, but then I'm wounding on 4s, and I have to reroll successful wounds because of his Trickster's Helm. And then he's got a 4-up ward save. So I didn't do anything to him. I put maximum attacks on his BSB, was able to do all 4 wounds, which was nice. And I think I did 1 or 2 wounds to his level 2 Maw. He did a couple wounds back to me, not that many. I won combat, but he's stubborn because of the stubborn crown on the Slaughtermaster, so he just reformed. And then he reformed like that. So High Elf turn 3, or High Elf turn 5. So I realize I'm in a bit of a, I'm winning right now. I'm up. And I know I'm up. All he's got left is, I got half points for his Gutstar at the moment. I got one of his characters and the BSB bonus. And then other than that, he has nothing left on the table, aside from these Nobblars. So the Nobblars are far enough away from his Gutstar that if I get rid of the Nobblars that are blocking me, I'm in a position where his Gutstar isn't going to be able to completely avoid me. So worst case scenario, I have a really good shot between them and my lines of setting up a combo charge in my turn 6. So I decide to make the charge. You know, worst case scenario, I decide not to charge if he's able to get out of it somehow. But if I want to, the charge is there, so I charge them to get them out of the way. And over here, so I hated having to rely on magic to get rid of that, to get rid of the bull that had escaped from the Swordmasters. Yeah, when my Swordmasters charged the bulls, I didn't catch them, so there's this one bull that is behind his Gutstar, and I didn't want to rely on magic from my Lore Master to get rid of him, but I just didn't feel right about this, so I moved my bolt throwers off the hill, moved my archers away, and it was a good thing because the comet went off, so that was good. Sometimes trusting your gut instinct is good. So yeah, he ended up still hitting my archers, did like 7 wounds or something, but to the bolt thrower, I think he only did 1 wound to the one bolt thrower on the top of the picture, and he completely missed the one on the bottom of the picture. So I got out of the comet relatively unscathed. So yeah, then there's this combat. I didn't show the pictures of the white lines reformed, and he was able to stop my magic missiles targeted at his bull. So he still has his bull. So this dreams of a glorious combo charge in the bottom of turn 6 to finish off the rest of his army isn't going to come to fruition. So that sucks. He was able to get rid of that. But over here, you know, the combat went predictably. I think he had like 3 guys left. So you know, I'm just going to restrain and hold there. He's probably not going to make the charge to me. So leadership 10, right? Anyone can make a leadership 10 break test, only I didn't. So I failed the break test to restrain. I failed the, restraint test. So I had to pursue. And then insult to injury, I didn't even catch him. So what was a 12-inch charge from his Gutstar to the front is now something like he needs to roll an 8 to get into the flank. So that sucks. And yeah, he finished mopping up the Swordmasters. I think I did 1 more wound to his level 2, and that was about it. And he reformed like that. So he's looking at a beautiful flank charge on my general's unit. And that's exactly what he does. Ogre's turn 5, he charges into the flank. And when he first made the charge, I was deceptively optimistic about this. I was like, oh, you know, so I'll challenge with my general. My general's, you know, he's not going to do any wounds to my general. Even with his general, he's pretty unlikely to do anything to my 1-up armor save Prince on a 1-up rerollable. I might get a couple wounds to him. Yeah, and then I'll be testing, I'll lose by, you know, charge, flank, banner. I'll lose by 3, leadership 7. Yeah, that's possible. Then I remembered that they're ogres and they get impact hits. So this was suddenly not going to be as nice as I thought it was. Then this guy, which I failed to kill in my magic phase, moved up to chaff, so yeah, that sucks. And yeah, this combat went predictably. So he did like 2 wounds with impact hits, distributed as per shooting. So he ended up killing 3 of my, or he did 3 wounds from his 3 impact hits. I put 1 on my general because I knew I'd save it, and I put 2 on my unit. I filled both of those, lost 2 wounds there. I challenged. His general accepted. He didn't do any wounds to me. I think I did like 1 wound to him. But at the end of the day, I was testing on a 6, and I broke, and he ran me down. So yeah, that sucks. That completely turned the game on its head. I was winning up to that point, and then that completely turned it on its head. Yeah, which is a little bitter taste in your mouth when you do it from a failed leadership 10 test. High Elves turn 6, I charge the Blocking Bull, just to kind of get points where I can. I killed the Blocking Bull, but then in my shooting phase before that, I threw everything I could at this unit, just trying to chip away, and I didn't quite get the unit. I think he's got 3 characters left, and I did a couple wounds to the characters because he had to start distributing. A couple wounds to the characters, couple wounds to the champion. Yeah, but I just wasn't able to get any more points from all my shooting. So yeah, that shows the end of that. I just killed them and reformed a face. His turn, he just reformed to face my bolt throwers, trying to get some points. Grut Sickle, this is actually funny. Grut Sickle did another wound to that. He brought him down to really few. I think he's got 2 wounds on his standard, 1 or 2 wounds on his champion. You know, everyone in this unit is wounded, but I'm only getting partial points. So he used Grut Sickle, wasn't able to get any of my bolt throwers though. And so yeah, the game ends like that. So I killed everything but this Gut Star. And those 3 Noblars, which insult to injury, they rallied. And yeah, so unfortunately that Gut Star is like 1,200 points. So at the end of it, it ended up being a 400 point victory point difference in favor of the Ogres. So in the tournament, that works out to being an 11-9. But he got 1 unit into my deployment zones. That's +1 for him. I broke him, but he broke me. So we both get +1, -1 for breaking and being broken from Fortitude. And so he ends up getting a 12-9 win. So it was a fun game. It was a great game, really exciting. You know, every game in this tournament was fantastic. He was a really great opponent. I'd happily play him again. I just wish I could pass leadership 10 tests. But, you know, that'll happen in games like this. I think I played well. And it was a good way to shake off the rust from such a long hiatus of, you know, playing Warhammer. So anyway, that's the battle report. Hope you enjoyed it.